Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be painting over some of my sketchbook pages. I've added some little tabs to the corners of some of my sketchbook pages, as you can see here, and on each page is a sketch that I'm just not overly happy with and I just don't want in this book. I've actually nearly finished this sketchbook here, which is really exciting because that's something that's quite rare for me, but some pages I just feel like I could do a bit better in. I did a video similar to this recently, and in that video I actually finished some sketches and then painted over other ones, and today I'm just doing the painting over version. Now in that last video I experimented with a bit of acrylic paint in this book, and I found that ink really likes to bleed through the acrylic paint. Even though I did like so many layers to try and cover up that ink, it would just like appear again. But this time I decided to use a bit of gesso before I actually painted, and I find that that actually helped quite a bit. It still bled through and I still needed to do a few layers, but it definitely wasn't as much as I needed to do in the last one. So in this first painting, I actually really wanted to experiment with a certain texture. As you can see, I'm using a mop paintbrush here to actually twist around on the paper and create these little swirly textures. I used a mixture of blues and whites for that, and afterwards I actually got a little bit of watered down white paint, and as you can see I am adding in some splatters over the top. I'm doing this because I want to create a sort of snowstorm effect, and I wanted to have some swirls of blue and white in the background and then have some like snowflakes blistering around as if they were blowing around in the wind, and that was going to be my background. Background for what, you ask? Well, actually, it is for a Pokemon. Surprise, surprise. I really wanted to paint one of the newly announced Pokemon that is actually for the Pokemon Legends Arceus game. I'm very excited about that, and they actually showed a new form of a Pokemon called Growlithe. Apparently this little guy here has actually evolved and adapted to live in a very cold environment. As you can see later on, he's going to have some like thick fluffy fur. So cute. And that's actually what gave me the idea for the snowstormy kind of background. I actually really love the colors in this because we have this sort of subdued blue color mixed with a lot of white, and then for the actual foreground we have this bright fiery red color, which I actually used a paint called Vermilion for that. If you're a Pokemon fan, you'll understand why I think that's funny. And when painting this guy, I actually didn't use a sketch or anything like that. I kind of just wanted to freehand him in there and just concentrate on the shapes that I'm adding. And after this, I added in some more paint splatters over the top so that he is more ingrained in that background. So like there's, you know, snow behind him and also snow in front of him. And overall, I'm very happy with the results of this. I just think he looks so cute. So for my next sketch now, I decided on this page here. This is actually an unused sketch that I had for a Christmas dragon, and you probably, if you're like on my channel a lot, you've probably seen that video. Now this sketch I didn't actually use the idea for, and it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of like a very quick sketch, and I just felt like maybe I could add something a little bit more interesting on this page here, especially since we have this like pretty cool looking galaxy, like spacey potion artwork on the opposite page. I kind of wanted to add in a bit of a galaxy kind of spacey artwork on this page so that it kind of like fit the theme. It's actually pretty funny too, because when I showed my partner the last artwork I made, I actually showed it to him before I painted in the subject, and he thought it was a galaxy background instead of a snow background. And that got me thinking, why don't I try this sort of, you know, swirly paintbrush texture with a galaxy? I just think that would work really well because it's got this like soft cloudy look, and you can sort of blend colors in a pretty interesting way with this, and I just had to try it out and see if I could make a galaxy with that style. It took a little bit of experimenting, and I had to keep sort of adding colors in here and there because the placement of the pink and the green kind of made it a little bit muddy, but overall I just blended it as much as I could and added in some purple here and there, and we have a really cool looking galaxy. I added in a few hand-drawn stars with my paint pen just so that you can definitely tell these are stars and it is a galaxy, and after this I decided it was time to add a little character in the middle, something that's going to be floating around in this spacey scene. I wanted to draw something that was dark so it looked kind of like it was a silhouette, and you can probably guess what I'm actually drawing now that, especially since I've added the ears in. You guessed it, it's a cat. And I actually think the addition of the black in this painting really works because it adds some more contrast to it, especially since later on, as you can see, I'm adding in a little bubble thing for, air so this cat can breathe. And I also added in some white highlights on the bottom of this cat, just on the edge, so that I could refine some of those details. And honestly, I just think this looks so cute, and this is probably one of my favorite acrylic paintings in this book so far. Look at him, he's cute. Now it's time to peel off that tape that I was using to protect the other side of the page here, and overall I love this guy. I just think he's so cute and it looks like he's playing with the stars. So for my next sketchbook page here, it's actually the next page and we have this little unused sketch. Now this was a very sort of lazy sketch of an Alolan Raichu, and as you can see I had actually swatched some Copic markers on the other side of it and it kind of bled through, and I don't know, I just felt like I couldn't really save that Alolan Raichu drawing, so I decided to paint over it again with some gesso, and now it's time to add a new work of art over the top. Now when I made my last painting, I actually thought before I was going to do a cat that I might have painted a narwhal in space, because that would have been pretty awesome if I say so myself, but I decided on the cat because I felt like it would work better, and then after that I just couldn't get narwhals out of my head. So you can probably guess what I'm drawing for this artwork now. For this one I used a few different blues and I sort of blended it in a horizontal pattern to make it look sort of like a surface of the water, and I used a few different kinds of blues, some like more bluey green colors and then more like purpley blue colors and a bit of white as well, and I think that worked pretty good. After this, it was time to paint in the narwhals, and I actually decided to paint them in pink and purple. Now this is because I wanted this artwork to be more colorful, and most ocean creatures, they sort of blend in because, evolutionary ways that they can survive, but this is art and I can paint them however I want, and I decided in pink and purple because pink, purple, blue, they kind of go together on the color wheel and they look pretty good. And honestly, once I added in the little like eye and mouth, I just think that they look so goofy and cute, but I love them. Now funny thing about narwhals is most of the time the ones with the horn or pointy thing on their head, those are usually the males. Now the females can sometimes get them, but often they'll break off. So I'm gonna say the one down the bottom there, as you can see, the pink one, that one is a girl, and I just thought it was funny that she's sort of looking up and like looking over at these boy ones, and she's like, ooh, they're interesting. And that's the basic story behind this artwork. Now, after I got all of that done, I decided to go over the top with a paint pen just to add in that glistening, watery kind of texture. And overall, I really love that I did that because I just think it looks so cool. And it really brings this piece together and brightens it up as well. I really like this one. I think it's cute as well. Now for my next and last but definitely not least artwork, I actually decided to paint on this page here, and I had some leftover paint from when I did the narwhal painting. So I decided I wanted to use that because, you know, waste not and stuff like that. But also I had an idea for the colors that I had, and I wanted to see if it would work. I kind of hate when I have like a whole lot of paint left over when I'm finished an artwork, because I just don't like wasting paint, especially since the paint can sometimes be expensive, and you know, sometimes inspiration comes from interesting places like using leftover paint. So for the beginning of this artwork, I decided I wanted to add a layer of light blue first, because that was going to be the main background, and this background is actually going to be a sky. I wanted to see if I could use that same swirly technique that I had used in previous artworks in this video, and I wanted to see if I could try and use it to paint a tree. Now this is going to be a pretty colorful tree as well. There's going to be some pinks, some purples, and a little bit of a light yellowish orange color, which I also mixed up because I felt like it would look nice with the colors. And I used that same technique as before, except with a slightly smaller mop brush. And overall, I just really love the kind of textures you can get, and the way that you blend with this, where it's not completely like fully blended, there's still some like texture of the colors like mixing slightly on the page. I just really love the look of it, and I feel like it's really interesting to look at. I also added in some partial swirls to the lower part of the artwork over the top of the blue, and I feel like those are like leaves or petals or something falling from the tree in the wind, and I really love the look of that too. I think it gives a really nice sort of relaxing vibe. Now with the trunk of this tree, I actually mixed in a little bit of magenta in with the brown so that the colors would sort of have a bit of harmony. There's a lot of pink in this artwork, and I wanted pink to appear a little bit in that trunk as well. And once I painted that over the top, it really does look like a tree, and it honestly just looks so cool and also really relaxing in a way as well. After this, I decided I wanted to add just a little bit more, so once all of that was dry, I added in another layer of swirls with a very slightly lighter color as well. It does look quite a bit lighter, but it will sort of dry slightly darker. Acrylic paints do that. And I did this because I just wanted to add a little bit of dimension and layers, as well as, you know, slight highlights here and there, and make it look like those branches really are in the tree and have like some leaves sort of layering over the top. And overall, I really like this one. It's got a sort of calm vibe to it, and I'm a big fan of it. So here's the final results for this video, and honestly I had so much fun painting these, and I had a really good time too. Comment below which one you think is your favorite. I'm gonna have to say the galaxy cat is probably my favorite. I just love the look of the space behind it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Please stay safe out there, and I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye everyone.